Welcome back to AI for Founders. I'm Ryan Estes. Today we've got Dr. Jennifer Berry, CEO of SmartLab, joining us, and this one's a big deal. SmartLab is transforming classrooms into hands-on, tech-powered ecosystems where students don't just learn STEM, they become STEM. Jennifer calls it building STEM identity, the belief that you belong, you can solve hard problems, and your ideas actually matter. In this episode, founders and leaders will learn how SmartLab is manufacturing those aha moments that unlock curiosity, resilience, and future-ready skills in a world where AI does the tasks, but humans solve the problems. If you're a founder thinking about talent, culture, or the next generation of problem solvers, this one is for you. High energy, big insights, and yes, we even talk about Old Navy and Hugo Boss suits along the way. But first, some business. This episode is brought to you by Kitcaster. Founders, let's be real. Your next $1 million deal isn't hiding in cold email or LinkedIn posts. It's hiding in conversation. At Kitcaster, we put you on podcasts where your prospects, partners, and investors are already listening. That means real influence, real reach, and real ROI. We've booked over 15,000 interviews for 800 plus clients, from scrappy startups to venture-backed rocket ships, and we know how to get you in the rooms where it all happens. So if you're ready to turn your story into revenue, head to kitcaster.com and apply to be a guest today. That's kitcaster.com, Kitcaster by Moburst. Hey everybody, you know what's crazy? I've been sitting on a gold mine this entire time and I didn't even know it. My Gmail inbox, literally thousands of warm contacts who already know and trust me. But here's the problem every founder faces. How do you turn those relationships into revenue without feeling like a sleazy salesperson? That's exactly why I've been using warmstart.ai. And honestly, it's been a game changer for my business. This AI platform connects your email, analyzes all your existing contacts, and helps you identify who in your network might actually be interested in what you're doing. Then it writes personalized outreach messages that don't sound robotic or pushy. The best part, you review every single message before it goes out. No spray and pray nonsense. This is relationship-based selling done right. My listeners know I only recommend tools I actually use, and WarmStart has literally helped me reconnect with people I'd lost touch with and turn those conversations into real business opportunities. If you're a founder struggling with outreach, check out warmstart.ai and use code AIFF to get $50 off your first month. Trust me, your existing network is worth way more than you think. Jennifer, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's my pleasure. Give us a quick summary of SmartLab.
Oh, I'd love to start off with SmartLab. Thank you so much for, again, having me on your show. And SmartLab is an integrated ecosystem where we spark aha moments and give students the ability to build their STEM identity, right? And so a lot of people ask me like, well, what is an aha moment, right? And we call an aha moment a sudden realization that occurs when a learner connects new and meaningful ideas in new ways. And obviously these are sparked by curiosity and hands-on engagement and problem solving, right? And I know as a business leader and founders out there that are listening to us, that's really important in the future is to have workforce that is sparked by curiosity, hands-on engagement, and problem solving, because AI is going to obviously do a lot of the work for us. And so we need to have leaders that can rise above that and have that curiosity, hands-on engagement, and problem solving ability so that they can navigate in this AI-powered world.
So cool. And, you know, I've gotten to know you a little bit and know what you do pretty well. Looking forward to learning more. But is it a safe assessment to say that you go into schools and you transform a room, an office, a library into like this interactive technological laboratory?
Yeah, it's such a great question because yes, that is what we do, right? So we sell learning environments, right? So we will go in and create learning environments in school districts that are conducive for this hands-on and project-based learning so that students can get their STEM identity. We lead with this idea that the goal is to get students to get their STEM identity, right? And we define STEM identity as the learner's self-belief that they belong they can master rigorous challenges, and then my ideas have an impact. So that is sort of what we lead with, that we're trying to make sure that the learners feel like they belong. They can say, I belong here, I can do this, I add value, I'm future ready. But in order to do that, we need an environment to create that sort of manufactured way in which they can get these aha moments. So what you're talking about is, what is the thing that we create, right? And we create these environments that are conducive and optimized for this learning environment. And the learning environment is, for us, comprised of an ecosystem. We really believe it's an ecosystem that drives this learning. It isn't just stuff that we put in a room, right? Many STEM companies, many STEM environments and even ours included, we sell stuff, right? We sell the furniture, we sell the kits and equipment, we sell the curriculum, we sell PD. But the reality is all of that integrated together creates this optimized learning environment so that the students can get the STEM identity. And what we do is create this environment that is conducive to learning with these 5 components. And the 5 components are this customized learning environment. Now, that customized learning environment could be, we take a blank room and it's a turnkey, we'll turn that blank room into a STEM learning environment. So that could be the way. Other times we'll take a multi-purpose room, a library, a corner of a classroom, and turn it into a STEM learning environment, right? Where the students can get dirty and they can move things around and they can build and create and get curious and fail a lot, right? Have the things topple over and go, oh, that didn't work. How do we fix that, right? So this can be created in a full white room where we can do turnkey and recreate the room, or it could be in the corner of a library. It could be in the corner of a classroom. It could be in a hallway. It could be in a community center in a community. So the environment, the customized STEM learning environment is really, really important. Within that customized STEM learning environment, you need the curriculum, right? And we have a SAS-based learning curriculum that is rooted in really strong pedagogy, rooted in state standards, so it meets all the expectations of school districts across the country. And that curriculum is really driven and scaffolded so that the students can have productive struggle and they can learn how to become a STEM leader by projects, by units that teach them how to aim themselves. Really, we take industry pathways and we take STEM applications and merge those together so that they're using these STEM applications in particular industries and they understand the impact of what they're learning to a career for their future. So that's the curriculum piece. You can't have curriculum in a STEM environment without kits and equipment, right? So we have really curated some amazing kits and equipment so that the students can actually build robots and use really great manipulatives in order to tie that to their curriculum. And the fourth we do is invest in the facilitator, because a room is just a room, curriculum is just curriculum, kits and equipment are just kits and equipment. But the magic, and every educator out there knows this, and even every parent knows this, the magic is when that facilitator can light up a student's perspective, can light up a student's curiosity. And so we spend a lot of time investing in our facilitators, investing in who the district brings in. We train them, but we don't just train them and let them go. We train them, we coach them, we give them a community across the country that they can partner with and share with and get their own aha moments and fail themselves in order for them to learn and be even more effective with their students in the future. We give them extend trainings, and we don't leave them behind even after the initial training. So that's also something we're really proud of. And then lastly, and this is really important to us, is that, and this is for the sustainability of these labs and the sustainability of the impact for students, is we invest in partnerships and support for the school. So we have the basics like every company does. We have customer support and we have tech support to ensure that the school district has people to help them troubleshoot if there's a problem. But really, we also build programs and opportunities for the community to come into these labs to inspire these students through their own stories and through their own journeys. And so we build these opportunities and these ways in which the community can come in, because we really have seen time after time that it isn't, again, about the the room and the kits and equipment and curriculum and even just the facilitator, but it's also about the community investing their time and energy into the spaces. And that's really important to us. And I have seen time and time again when parents, business leaders, adults come into these spaces, the students not only get to share their learnings, but get inspired by what they could potentially be in the future.
Incredible. I love it, and I love
Thank
that
you.
it all kind of builds out of an aha moment. You guys have gone to great lengths to facilitate that. Now that is not easy. I think everybody knows what an aha moment is. And, it's kind of an expand of consciousness where it's like not like an idea pops in, rather you see a whole new level of capacity. These are life-changing, game-changing opportunities that happens for kids. And truly to your point, there's precedence of this. Like you have to have set in setting if you're doing some kind of consciousness expanding thing. Like it's very critical. I mean, we know this innately because, our monasteries look a certain way. Our churches look a certain way. The food court at the mall looks a certain way.
Yes.
You really got to have the right vibe in order for something like this to occur.
Yeah, I even think about it. So my early career, I was in retail, and the retail organization that I was with really spent a lot of time thinking about, even as the customer was walking by the windows, what were they experiencing? Even when they walked across the threshold, what were they experiencing? Where were we aiming the customer in order to get their own aha moments to purchase something, right? So even just that philosophy of like shopping for jeans and how important it is to like inspire somebody to come into your store and shop for something, we think about that and get very intentional about how to produce aha moments for these kids, because we know that it isn't just about one aha moment. It's about multiple aha moments that build. And when those aha moments build, then all of a sudden these light bulbs go off where a student feels like, oh, I just conquered something. I mastered something that I thought when I first started, I was overwhelmed. I was going to fail at it, or I did fail at it a few times. But now I've conquered something, and now I have this self-belief that I can master those challenges and I can master anything, right? And that's what we need right now. We need students and adults to come out into the workforce knowing that they belong, right? And I know that as a business leader myself, it's really important when I'm even doing interviews right now that it's way beyond the technical skills, right? Of course, they have to have the base level of technical skills, but it's way beyond that because AI is powering technical skills at this point. And so I need leaders and I need just individual contributors even to think beyond that, to be really curious, to be really strong problem solvers, to be able to think beyond just the obvious. Those leaders are the ones that are going to really take and catapult businesses like mine and businesses like others. And I'm assuming many business leaders on listening to this podcast. I think that's really critical and important for us to empower these students young, and to be a part of that solution, I think is really, really key, right? And so we're constantly looking for people to come in, not only come into these labs with their time, but also to resource, be a part of the solution, and to resource putting in smart labs across the country into school districts, because right now the budgets are tight, right? It's very, there's declining enrollments in many cases. There's across the country, there's conflict on what is the right pedagogy, what is the right teaching, what are the things that the students should be learning and not learning. And the reality is, what we do know and what we cannot argue about in any setting is that students need to be future ready, right? That is just the obvious. And so nobody is going to deny that we want people to be critical. We want students to be able to critically think. Nobody can deny that we want students to be able to feel confident and to be able to say, I can master any challenge that's put in front of me because I am curious, right? I am confident and I have the strength and fortitude to push through challenges. Nobody can deny that. And I have witnessed time and time again when I go into project-based learning, hands-on learning environments, that students get that. They get that confidence, they get that curiosity, and all those aha moments lead to this, what we call STEM identity. And STEM identity can cut across any field, even if it's not the STEM fields, right? And there's industries out there that use STEM in every single aspect of the work. And we need students that are ready for that. And so we really want to inspire business leaders to be a part of the movement, be a part of investing their dollars and their employees' time in
Oh, you hit, it's muted for some reason. Do you see that? You're muted somehow.
I must have hit
Probably on the
something.
screen. No problem. Cool. This is really fascinating because, you talk about future proofing, but ultimately the future is an illusion. It only exists
Yeah.
in like our mind. Truly, you just go from one aha moment to the next and they compound on each other. And I loved your analogy for retail. I was an old retail dog many years ago. I worked at Nordstrom. I worked at Nordstrom and sold men's underwear.
Yeah, I love it.
And you might not think there's an aha moment in there, but let me tell you,
Oh,
you
yeah.
make an aha moment with purchasing some underwear, and then I'm walking those guys down to buy some Hugo Boss suits.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did very, very well working in men's accessories, largely because, when you create, the point is that when you have facilitating a moment where the lights turn on,
Yeah.
and it seems like this moment, you're kind of calling it their STEM identity, where not only do they have the confidence to fail, but the confidence to succeed. And they have kind of the encouragement to know like, oh, this other thing I'm interested in,
Yeah.
there's a place for me here.
Yeah.
I can pursue this direction.
Yeah, I really love that. I love this sort of like compounding aha moments in our lives as adults, right? Like every day, you and I think, are in the same kind of world of always trying to learn, right? Constantly pushing ourselves to say we don't know it all. So like every day something comes in our way that we're like, oh, okay, I'm going to be better today because I just learned something, right? And students innately are like that, right? Kids are innately curious. They're innately playful, right? And yet many times we confine them to these boxes and want to teach them to the test. We want to teach them how to do things the way that we believe is the appropriate way to learn. And yet kids are itching to get up. Kids are itching to play with things, just like we are as adults. And so when you talk about that retail sort of walking them from men's underwear to the Hugo Boss suits, right? That was my grooming. I spent 15 years in retail, right? And it's some of the biggest retailers in the world, Gap Inc. being one of them, right? And that was our earliest learning. We were not just selling jeans. We were selling an experience, and we were selling a journey to get people from one place to the other. Gap doesn't have any uniquely different clothing than any other store. But what they did have is this ability to aim you towards something that, and they still do. You can see it through their commercials, and you can see it how they're really positioning their brand. They have this unique ability to make you feel something when you put a t-shirt on, feel something when you put a pair of jeans on. And the reality is when you're in a school and a student is in there, we want them to feel something. We want them to get their hands into something so that the learning and the light bulbs go off so they can become a better human and future ready.
So important. And, shout out to the Gap. And particularly, I want to give a shout out to Old Navy.
Yeah.
I go into Old Navy with $100 coming out looking mint.
Yeah.
I mean,
Totally, right?
Dad is the place, man. I'm telling you.
And you think about those brands, right? Old Navy, Gap, Banana Republic, all of them, right? They all have really figured out who their audience is, and you clearly are an Old Navy guy, and you come out of there feeling something special.
Feel great.
Yeah, that's right. And guess what? It's just jeans and t-shirts, but you feel great.
Every once in a while, a sweater.
Every once in a while, a great sweater or a hoodie. I know. I love it.
When you're talking about education, kind of putting people in a box, this is something, and I think SmartLab is going to be just the beginning of this humongous wave that's coming for education. Now, I remember when I was in third grade and I was in a box, school was very hard for me because before they had the letters, the A's, the D's, the H's, they didn't know what to do with a kid, so I was like, I am so bored. I have the fidgets. I'm going crazy.
Sure.
And Miss Thusko, shout out to Miss Thusko, she just was like, Ryan, why don't you just go back to the classroom and you could just stand at your desk, And so I just stood all day long, as I similarly do now,
Yeah.
But, now we're looking at a situation where ADHD, ADD, these things are just commonplace. We've all got it. It's almost like a symptom of the culture that we've built. And so like to have this expectation, like we're going to pack 40 kids in a classroom and have them work on a packet, it's dated. And it doesn't work for students who really need the extra challenge, the extra stimulation, the extra fun of like using technology and building things. And now we have this opportunity, particularly with the vibe coding apps and all these different tools, to incorporate and really unlock a lot of creativity, a lot of passion that maybe has been missing in the past.
Yeah, I am very impressed by your ownership of what you needed as a student now that you've looked back on your life and thought, oh, shout out to that teacher who recognized that I needed to stand up, right? I also feel very passionate about linking it to something, right? I remember as a kid always thinking, why are we learning this? What is the point of this? Like, sure, I'm going to memorize these math facts. Sure, I'm going to understand this chemistry, problem set, or even in my college years, like read a case study and be able to analyze a case study. But to what end? What is this all for, right? And my passion, and I have really dug in with my curriculum and development team to understand what is rooted in our curriculum and the connectivity to careers and industries, right? So to take the STEM applications and not just like get kids to play with the STEM application and to build something and get their hands into it. And I can imagine you as a kid loving this, right? Going in there and just like being able to stand, sit, get up, get down, throw it on the ground, roll it out. Oh, that broke, that thing towered over. Let me pick it back up. Like, you would have thrived. But I asked the question, great, you would have been excited about that and some aha moments would have been happening, but to what end? So being very intentional and thoughtful about connecting it to industry pathways, like saying to the student, saying to young you, okay, I'm doing this, but wow, they use this AI or they use this circuitry and electronic thing that I'm doing in advanced manufacturing. What is advanced manufacturing? This is what advanced manufacturing is, right? They're using this thing in finance. Wow, what? Oh, cool. That's a job out there? Oh my gosh, I would love to be in that job because now I've learned how to do it as a third grader. And I'm seeing that that's a career out there for me. So that intentionality of bringing it to real life career pathways, I think is also really, really critical, even at the youngest ages, right? Like we have a unit that is, it's called Harvest Holler, and it's about teaching kindergartners how to code, right? That in and of itself. So they have this really cool robot that they get to build and they get to teach it how to move and bring, how to move from one place to the other. So how to turn right, how to turn left, how to go straight, right? That's like the basics of coding. And this is at the kindergarten level, right? 4 and 5-year-olds. But we take it a step further. It isn't just about teaching you how to code. It's actually saying, all right, you're learning how to teach this robot to go from point A to point B, but why? Oh, you're teaching how a truck, how to bring food from the farm to a grocery store, to a farmer's market, right? And that is a career. How to code a self-driving truck, right, is in the agricultural industry, right? That's really empowering for a kid because now they can see themselves not just knowing how to code as a 5-year-old, but also that, wow, I know how to code and I also know the point and the purpose behind coding. And I understand how it connects to an industry. And maybe that's a job I could have one day, even as a 5-year-old. So instead of a 5-year-old just naming the things that they see in front of them as what their career choice is, of course, the first thing we want them to say is, my career is I want to be happy. We want kids all to say that, I want to be happy. But after that, they could say, oh, I want to be the kid that designs a self-driving car to bring amazing fresh food to local communities, right? Because I'm looking around my community and we don't have fresh food. We have old, stale carrots that maybe have already mold on them. So I need to figure out how to drive I need how to command a truck, a self-driving truck to bring amazing fresh foods quicker to my local community, right? So to give them some purpose behind what they're learning. And I think that's really exciting.
Now, you and I know startups aren't built in boardrooms. They're built in the wild, during 3 a.m. bug fixes, botched launches, and that one meeting where everything almost fell apart. That's what Code Story is all about. It's a podcast where tech founders break down the make or break moments behind their products, what went wrong, what went right, and what nearly wrecked everything. Hosted by Noah Labhart, Code Story goes past the highlight reel and into the honest stuff. Late pivots, brutal bugs, and somehow coming out alive with a product people actually love. If you're in the build stage, the scale stage, or the please let this feature work stage, I can relate. This show will speak to your soul. Listen to Code Story at codestory.co or wherever you get your podcast. Just search Code Story. It'll be right at the top. Because great startups aren't born, they're forged one hard moment at a time. codestory.co. This episode is brought to you by MoBurst, the AI-first growth engine trusted by iconic startups like Calm, Robinhood, Reddit, Uber, and Google. MoBurst is a digital full-service mobile-first marketing agency that helps companies to scale and become category leaders. Whether you're finding product market fit or ready to accelerate growth, MoBurst delivers creative, data-driven solutions that help with scale and efficiency and impact. At MoBurst, we're not just guessing what works, we're predicting it. As an AI-first agency, MoBurst uses cutting-edge tools to analyze user behavior, adapt creative in real time, and uncover hidden growth opportunities. The result, marketing that's faster, smarter, and built to convert. From early-stage startups to global brands, we've helped hundreds of companies overcome complex challenges, unlock new audiences, and optimize every metric that matters. At MoBurst, we believe that creative thinking, advanced technology, and data are the core drivers of success at scale. If you're serious about scaling your business with precision and purpose, it's time to talk to MoBurst. Visit moburst.com and let's build something category-defining together. It's so important, and it gives them the opportunity to figure it out. Because honestly, we don't know what their jobs are going to be.
Nope.
I mean, when I was in third grade, Miss Nusko's class, somebody would have from the future been like, "Hey, guess what? You work in podcasting." You're like,
Right.
"What is that?" Know? You're like, I thought I'd be a laundry delivery driver or a trash man. Like, what? Those are the jobs I know are Mr. Rogers. The heck is a podcaster?
Right.
So now it's, just compounded. I think there's going to be new, different jobs evolving every 3 months. Mm-hmm. So, you give kids the skills to do something proactive. You give them the agency to make mistakes and fail, because that's a big part. And over time, they gain the confidence to be able to adapt to a world that is changing so fast that, we can't even barely keep our finger on it.
Yeah, that's why we focus on the industry, not necessarily the job. Right? That's the difference. There's a difference between, we're going to teach you how to be a, coder for driving cars, like to get cars from point A to point B. That's cool, but that job might be taken over by AI. That job might already be developed somewhere else, and we don't even need to have humans do that at all. But the industry is not going to go away, right? Like, the advanced manufacturing industry isn't going away. Arts and entertainment and media isn't going away. So if you as a young kid thought you might have wanted to be a trash driver because that's what you saw in front of you, you didn't know about this podcaster. Yeah. But if we talked to you about arts and entertainment, I bet you back then you would have been like, I like that field. Something about that is cool, right? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do in that field, but something in that is cool. And then let's say you were learning about modeling and design, and you're like, I could design, and then you make up the career. Maybe back then in third grade, you could have made up podcast host, right? And that wasn't even a job yet, because you're inspired through this sort of ability to, again, fail and learn and do some hands-on learning against an industry that you can then make up a career for. And that to me is also exciting, because I agree, we don't know what the jobs are going to be, and they're going to change by the minute, but why not teach the kids to create the jobs? Yeah.
Well, and if I had SmartLab, they'd be like, "Hey, that kid never shuts up. Get him a microphone." Like, what's going on?
Right. And your STEM identity would have given you the, I belong, I can do this. My ideas make an impact. I'm future ready, right? Because I know there's a job out there for me, because give me a microphone. I can do that.
100%. Now, it's interesting too, your category of business too, because it's kind of surrounded in controversy. Everything in education is kind of a minefield with banana peels on it, but particularly how private industry and public education and private education and a voucher system, all these things work together. It seems to get mixed into a lot of politics. which is too bad because ultimately we all want what's best for our kids. But what I do like the idea of private companies, they're incentivized in a different way. With public education, the timetables are much longer, but with companies, it's like, hey, we have to do something that works because otherwise we don't have traction and we don't have customers. So talk to me a little bit about your customers and what it's like working with school districts and kind of what goes into that.
Yeah. School districts never say no to us. So when we go into a school district and say, hey, let me tell you about what SmartLab does. We're an integrated ecosystem, right? That sparks aha moments, that drives STEM identity for learners. Let me tell you how we define STEM identity. Let me tell you about our 5 components of our ecosystem. Let me tell you about how nobody goes, oh yeah, that's so controversial, right? They go, absolutely. Right? I want my kids to feel like they belong, they add value, they can master rigorous challenges. No, nobody, whether you are preferring the voucher system or you love straight up public education or you're like, I want to start a micro school, whatever it is, right? Nobody denies that they want their kids future ready and feel like they belong and they can master rigorous challenges. So we don't get a lot of pushback. Where the pushback comes from in our world is, with the competing priorities, our budget cuts, the aim of wherever the aim is on the federal level, the state level, and or district level, where do we get the money to this? Because it's an investment, right? It's an investment that's bigger than just the basics of curriculum. It's an investment bigger than just the teaching staff and ensuring you have the strongest teachers to be in the face of our students. And so this is the piece where we're really trying to rally a movement around business leaders to get excited about being a part of the solution, right? To me, going into school districts and partnering with a company like ours to say, hey, I want to donate to a foundation local in my community. I want to donate to a school district. I want to donate to a local community center, right? Because I want to be a part of the movement, the solution to help kids above the noise of all the K-12 controversy, as you call it, right? We want to say to them, if you want to be a part of that movement, which you should, that it isn't just about donations. It's about strategy, right? It's a strategic move for an organization to say, you know what, if I'm going to donate to something, I'm going to donate to the future. I'm going to ensure that we rise above the noise and the controversy, and we get into donating to school districts in order to drive students that are future ready. And we can help schools or businesses partner with local nonprofits or national nonprofits to say, we're going to make sure that that your money, your donations to them is used for smart labs in schools, is used to ensure that smart labs are embedded into every school across the nation so that every student gets these kind of opportunities. And that rises above every controversy because there's not many school districts that are going to say no if we walk in and say, I've got this amazing business in your local community that wants to put an amazing smart lab in your schools so that your students can get their STEM identity and get hands-on project-based learning. Every school, in fact, we've got businesses that do this right now, welcome us with open arms because they're yearning for solutions. They're yearning for help from their community, right? Because most of the time when communities invest and put a smart lab in their community, they don't just put it in, they then send their employees to volunteer year over year. They then make sure that their volunteers are coming in and embedding themselves into the community and bringing the parents along the journey with them. And school districts love when the culture reeks and reaps the benefits and the rewards of community involvement. And so that to me is where it's at. It's rise above the K-12 controversy and say, hey, this is strategic for us as an organization. This is strategic for us because we know that we need students that are going to be our next workforce. This is beyond, beyond any side of the aisle. Right? This is beyond all of that. This is about students need us right now, right? They're not going anywhere. The way school looks today we might have a we do, We already have a micro school movement. We've had a charter school movement. We've had public school really, really embedding themselves across the country in really deep and really meaningful ways. We have private schools that are doing their best to meet the students and the parents and the needs of where the parents and the students are at, right? All of these different entities are all doing one thing. They're trying to focus on the student, give them what they need so that they can be future ready, right? Because we all care about this next generation being successful. We care about that. There's nobody that denies that. So that's what SmartLab cares about. We care about inviting the community in and saying, let's partner you with local foundations. Let's partner you with local school districts. Let's partner you. But when we partner you, you're demanding that SmartLabs go in so that SmartLabs are changing these students' lives. And that to me is not controversial.
Not at all. And very interesting, so of course the schools want it, but they're just like, hey, we're strapped for cash. So you go out and find people to sponsor it. Now I see an amazing opportunity right now. Okay. I'm starting Estes ice cream cones and I want to sponsor a SmartLab. Now, can I plaster Estes ice cream logo all over the SmartLab to make sure that those kids go absolutely nuts after school?
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of, right? Businesses don't want to just give their money and go, well, some do. Actually, we do have some that don't want their brand on it at all. They just want to make sure their philanthropic efforts go into the school and support students because they care about the community right. But most businesses want to make sure that that's a quid pro quo, that there's some useful agreement between, hey, I'm going to give this money because I care about kids and I care about their future, but also that these kids want to come buy my ice cream. Right. Yeah. And that's really important. Yeah. And absolutely, we will go as far as not just making sure that we're plastered all over the school, but we'll work with businesses to develop curriculum that meet their needs. Right. So if your new ice cream shop is like, you know what, I'm trying to create an AI powered ice cream scoop that scoops up ice cream and does it for me so that I don't always have to rely on the college students to come in and scoop the ice cream. Instead, I can use those college students to do some higher level jobs for me, right? The more, taking orders in a different way or really going out and being the marketers and the face of the organization. So I can use the college students in a different way. And then instead I can have these cool robots, scooping the ice cream out, right? So we can create curriculum that talks about that, right? Talks about the industry of ice cream making, talks about how you can build an AI powered or a coded ice cream scooper, right? We can partner and then plaster the company's name all over the curriculum. So it isn't just in your local school, right? Because you want your name on that local fence, right? But you also would love to say, I might want to scale my ice cream shop across the country, right? So now you're in the curriculum across the country. Your name and goals and your brand is in our curriculum that the students in New York are seeing, right? And the students in Texas are seeing. And now parents are demanding, where is that ice cream shop in my local community, right? And now you've got these people that are like investors that are coming to you saying, hey, I want to invest in you to come to the Houston market, right? Now you're getting 100%. To expand. So we're really excited about partnering with businesses to say, what do you need from us to make sure that your brand is front and forward, right? And that you are being seen. Is it just local that you care about? Is it national that you care about? Do you want to help us develop curriculum and get branding in it? Do you want us to just develop the curriculum and you get your name slapped on it? Whatever it is that the business wants, we are willing to have a conversation about, because one of our 5 components of the ecosystem is partnership. And partnership means a real partnership that it's meaning for each party in that partnership, right? You and I want to be a partner because there's something in it for you and there's something in it for me, right? And then together we're giving something in it for the students that we're serving, right? But we still need what we need from it, right? And so we're going to power it by your ice cream shop in any way, shape, or form that we can. And we're willing to have lots of different conversations of what a particular partnership might be and what is meaningful for particular organizations.
Yeah, it's so interesting, especially as we're kind of like at just this pivotal moment, of how AI is influencing absolutely everything. And one thing that's true is that we're all developing a relationship with the tools we use, like a personal relationship. Now, GPT is a little bit too complimentary, and my friends are kind of mean, so I'm not used to that. But that's to say that like it's very sticky because I get used to the way that GPT talks to me as opposed to like Gemini. So, finding that adoption early on is going to be critical because I really think that like, when I was a kid, we had Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, I remember Teddy. I love Teddy.
Remember that? It was great. You could put your finger in its mouth and it would like hurt, when it was talking to you. But the thing is going to be the same.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are going to grow up with their AI companion, and it's going to start as a teddy bear that they can talk to, and they'll sing songs at night, and then it'll grow as they grow and evolve. So if you're thinking about it, like, what if Elon Musk wanted to acquire SmartLab largely just so that he could encourage Grok adoption to kids when they're coming up? Would you consider an offer like that?
Yeah, we're going to talk to anybody. We're going to talk to anybody that's interested in being a part of the solution that wants to help kids master rigorous challenges, right? AI will do tasks. That's a fact. AI is going to do tasks. Humans will solve problems.
Yeah.
That's a fact, right? That's why we need smart labs. That's why we need smart labs, because that's going to help students grow confident and creative problem solvers.
Totally agree.
And so, if any incredible business, any leader wants to come to us and say, hey, I'm interested in investing in you, buying you, partnering with you, investing in smart labs in schools, however they want to have a conversation with us, we just want people to be a part of this movement. And if it's because they are looking for more profit, or they're looking to care about the kids and the impact on the kids, or they're looking to be a part of the solution, we're here for it. And we're here to have the conversation. So my ultimate goal, though, is to impact students. It's a win-win all around. But my ultimate goal as a leader of this organization is that the students on the other end are the ones that are getting the win out of this, right? So ultimately, as long as I get that as a leader of an organization, is that I know that the kids on the other end of the stick are going to get the win. They're going to be the biggest winners in this. Then I'm open for any conversation.
Amazing. I'll just make an introduction to Elon at Tesla.com and see if that goes through. Well, I want to talk about the organization too. How big is the team?
It depends on what you think of as a team. So we have a team of about 50 to 100 incredible in-house employees, depending on if you're looking at the full-time versus the part-time employees. But we also have over 600 facilitators across the country. And then we have lots of 1099s that help us build curriculum and otherwise. So we really feel strongly that we're a small but mighty in-house team that cares about student outcomes for kids. And then we have this large, vast community across the country that is our arms and legs and spider webs, if you will, to be our brand ambassadors and implementers of this amazing work that we do with students every day.
Cool. And I've met a couple members of your team. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Noel. They're fantastic. Incredible. I'm very impressed with the way you guys move. How would you describe your leadership style?
Yeah, I love this question because people ask me this all the time, and my answer is it depends. My leadership style is based on who's in front of me. And I personally have a very high standard for myself, right? I am one of those people personally that takes on a lot of things, right? I got a doctorate in the middle of 2020. Who does that? Right? Like I graduated in 2022, got my doctorate, walked across that USC stage, very proud that I got through a pandemic and still received a doctorate during that, right? I direct my daughter's school play. I am a casting director at a theater. I'm a CEO of a company. I continually add things to my plate. So I have a very high threshold of what I can take on, and I move at very high, rapid places. So most people that work for me are in that sort of mind, like take on a lot, run through walls, as long as we have 70% of the information and we feel good about this kind of decision making, if we've got 70%, we're going to push through that and make that decision and fail hard and regroup and start all over, right? So we have a very fast-paced environment here at SmartLab. I feel like I'm a very fast-paced, high-standard leader. I'm rooted in our mission and our why, you could hear me talk about. As long as the kids get the benefit at the end of the day, I'm all for it. But I also care about our standard of excellence from a brand perspective, the work we do, the customer experience. So I'm the leader that really values high excellence standards, fast-paced, moving, hungry. We're humble in what we do, but we don't accept the norm. We don't settle in what worked. We push past what works because there's always something higher that we can achieve. But when I say it depends on the leadership because it depends on the problem that we're trying to solve. It depends on the person I'm talking to. It depends on what the community and customer is yearning for. It depends on what the market is wanting. And I like to flex and be responsive to the community that I'm serving. I like to flex and be responsive to the employees that are in front of me. And ultimately, I ensure that whatever I spent my whole last half of my career now, over a couple, 2 decades now, 2 decades plus actually, in the education space, because I believe in the future and I want to put my heart and soul towards something that I can lay my head down at night and know that I'm a part of something bigger than myself. And I ensure that I create people, you mentioned Noel and Hannah, that we find people around us that are deeply rooted in our mission and that deeply care about the outcomes for students in our school districts. Because if not, we're only here for one reason, profit or growth or sustainability, and all those things matter. And I'm clearly a leader that cares about that because I am a driven person. But more importantly, I want to ensure that the end user is getting what we promise.
Yeah. Amazing. Couple of things. I want to hear about theater, but also how do you think your team would describe your leadership style?
How would my team I think they'd say I was a visionary, and not somebody that sleeps. I think they'd say those two things. I wake up every morning with a new idea, right? And I surround myself with people that say, great idea. However, remember this roadmap and these milestones that we need to hit? Are you saying you want to replace that new idea with that, right? And I love that. I love bringing people around me that can bring me down of my vision and say, we're good with that vision, but that means we're going to have to replace something because we only have so many resources, right? So I'd say they would say I was a visionary and somebody that doesn't sleep. I'd also say that they would say I'm a people leader. I'm a human-centric leader. I really care about the people that work for me. I'm passionate about getting the best versions of people. And I'm passionate about creating equity in the workplace and that people feel like they're included and they're seen and they're heard and they have a seat at the table, right? As a woman leader myself, I've been in rooms that I didn't feel seen and heard, or I felt like I had to be the louder voice in the room in order to be seen and heard. And so I work really hard with my team to ensure that everybody is seen and heard and everyone feels valued and everybody's voice has a place. And sometimes that means not just listening to the loudest voice at the table. Sometimes that means going deep into the depths of my organization and asking the person at the ground level, what do they think? What is their point of view? So I think my team would really champion and say that I'm a human-centered leader and care about the people that work for me. And we create, I don't like to say family because, sometimes we have to do layoffs. Sometimes you have to make hard decisions about things. And so you don't do that with family. But I definitely would say we're a tight-knit group that cares about each other. And we're a tribe of people aimed at a mission and a goal.
Yeah. I always wonder about those people who call their coworkers family, because it's like, if we were family, we would have had a fist fight years ago.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Family's a tough word for me in a workplace. But unified front is important.
Buddies.
Yeah. Buddies. Yeah. Buddies. Or, I don't even know buddies. I think driven for a cause that we know is of value and we care about each other, right? If somebody is having a hard day or if somebody needs something, I'll be the first to call, check in, make sure they're okay. I think that it's important to care about the people that you work for, with, and around. I think that's important. So, because everybody deserves care in this world. And sometimes we forget about that. We forget about being caring. And I think in this sort of universe and space we're in right now, we've got a lot of noise and a lot of dissent and anger that's floating in the universe. And I believe leading with love.
I love that. It's amazing. You ready for the
So you
lightning
asked
round?
about theater. You said theater. You want to know more about theater. I love talking about theater.
Yeah,
Well,
please.
so my dad's a professional actor and director, and he owns a theater in Los Angeles, West Valley Play. Shout out to West Valley Playhouse for anybody that's in the San Fernando Valley. Please go check it out. So I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up in the theater space. My dad's a tried and true theater actor, so I grew up there. I also was a professional dancer myself growing up, so I love that. Now I will choreograph in various professional theaters. And because I have a daughter that's in elementary school, I've been pulled into that volunteer circle. And now I also direct and choreograph the local play of my daughter's elementary school, which is really fun too. So I also see that as hands-on learning, right? I'm a person that loves to move my body, loves to engage in storytell, both in a dance way, but also in through storytelling. And I encourage every child, adult to see live theater, because you can hear stories from different perspectives that get you out of your own circle every day, that gets you out of your own box. And you can hear other people's triumphs and trials and tribulations that a way that I think brings meaning to your own life, because you can maybe see yourself in a story, or see something that you would never have been exposed to in your own four walls and go, oh, there's a bigger world out there. And it just brings more empathy. It brings more empathy and appreciation for others when you listen and learn in stories. And theater to me is where it's at, because it's live, and every time you're seeing it, it's the first time that actor might be telling that story that way, right? Even though they do it maybe 5 times a week, every night that they do it, it's a little bit different, because they feed off the audience. They maybe have their own revelation in a different way. They're listening to their fellow castmate and hear something new. And so they create a new journey and a new story. And I just love that about theater, which is different than movies. Movies are great and they're lovely, but it's a story you see and you hear. If you watch it 10 times, you're seeing the same story 10 times. You go to the same play 10 times, you learn something different every single time.
Yeah, and it's live. And I mean, I like
live.
theater for the same reason, because I'm like deeply in the moment. You can tell when somebody's got a little stage fright, or they flip a line, how the rest of the cast is reacting.
It's the best.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
I never would have known you were into theater. I would expect you to wear a scarf.
Right. Don't all theater people wear a scarf? Yeah. No, I know.
I thought it was a rule and a beret or something,
Yeah. Yeah. You're so old school. That's so old school. There's amazing, amazing theater actors there that really study human existence and how humans think. And when they put themselves, I have the best story. When I was little, my dad would come home from a show, right, late at night or whatever, from rehearsal. And it would take him a minute to undo the character that he was. And so as a child, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm like, is this my dad? Or is this Lenny from Mice and Men? I wouldn't know sometimes who he was, right? And it would take him a second to unravel his character to then become my dad. And so I just think growing up in that, I really appreciate that there's so many different perspectives. There's so many different ways of viewing the world. There's so many different cultures that see world through their own lens. And I really strive to always remember that my way is not the only way. And my way of looking at the world is not the only way. And there are so many beautiful, rich stories and originations of things that we don't even know about until we listen to others, and we surround ourselves with different cultures and different stories and different ways of thinking and being. And that can really be the tapestry to a beautiful life when you open yourself up to other ways of viewing the world. Otherwise, you get really pinned into this is how I see it and this is the way it should be. And it's come on, right? I mean, there's a long history and a lot of things that have happened in a beautiful way and a really horrendous way that we all need to own up to and live and step into, to know that this world didn't get here from like your way of thinking. Right? This world got here from a lot of different journeys and a lot of different stories, and being an appreciator of that, I think is really beautiful.
Cool. Me too. I could see how that'd be challenging with your pop, though. He comes home, he's really excited about a new role he just got cast in. And you're like, it better not be a Scottish accent again. That was unbearable.
Yeah, actually, I mentioned Lenny from Mike's and Men, and that is probably one of my biggest scars in life. I had to watch my dad die 100 times over, because I'd go to the rehearsals, I'd go to the play over and over and over. And so like, I have a real, anyway, I could get into that's a whole nother podcast to talk about like my own personal journey, or maybe it's therapy I need to go to. But I had to watch my dad die a lot as a child. And that brings you closer to the realities of death too sometimes. So, yeah.
Interesting. Amazing. Okay. This has been awesome. I've got a couple more questions for you. You got a little bit more time?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. Considering what you know now, let's imagine you're going to be a freshman in college. What would you study right now?
I'd study communication.
Communication. How so?
Yeah, it's funny because I remember being a freshman in college going, what should I study? And I ended up studying political science, which clearly I did not do anything with. Well, actually, I probably did, because I have a whole PR department. I just got off with an amazing company who's going to do some conversations with us about earmarks in various states, right? So maybe it did help me on some level. But I feel like because AI is going to do tasks, because students are going to know how to do things quicker than we ever did when we were younger and in college through this use of AI, we need to have really strong orators. And even if AI is going to write our speeches for us, even if AI is going to tell us the roadmap of how we tell a story, right? We still need people to inspire. We still need individuals to be able to pull an audience along, to pull a community through, to rally people around a common good cause. And so I believe that communications is a really good way of helping people understand how meaningful it is to tell stories, right? Storytelling has been since the beginning of time, right? Indigenous people have used storytelling as their mode of communication, right? And so whether we're back then when there was sticks and fire, or now where there's computers basically doing everything for us, including picking the berries, including, right, getting the meat, we still need storytelling. We still need great people to be able to inspire a movement. And we can see this in politics, right? We need people to rally good causes. We need people to inspire truth. And I think that good communications degrees can teach people where there's communication that can inspire, but in a negative way, or communication that can inspire in positive ways. So I think that would be a really good degree to get as a freshman in college. I also think degrees, obviously in the STEM fields, right? Degrees in engineering, right? I think is really important because it teaches problem solving skills. And if you have a degree in engineering, you could still be a CEO of a company, right? Because you have the ability to think and to problem solve and to take a lot of complicated issues, pull them together and create a roadmap for success. So I think engineering is a really great degree, Lastly, because I'm going to give a shout out to the education space, I think that we need more educators. And I think that the students need educators. And so getting degrees in education, I think a lot of students stray away from education right now because the dollars aren't that great for educators, right? And you get into becoming a teacher and you don't get paid a lot. But there are a lot of jobs as teachers that's a calling, right? But also as administrators, and then in companies like mine, right? Most of the employees that work for me were former educators, right? And so I really think that education is the key because that is helping build the future. Those would be the three degrees that I would inspire and then of course I'm always going to say theater.
If you just have money to burn, study theater, right?
If you have money to burn, I remember the day my mom said to my dad, okay, I love this theater thing. However, could you maybe figure out how to make us some money? And then, of course, he went into TV and commercials and all that good stuff, but he hated it. He just did it because my mom said, you need to make money because theater's not where it's at.
Similar conversation with my wife. I recorded records and toured playing music for many, many years. And she's like, buddy, this is not the fulcrum of commerce. We got a couple of kids over here.
Exactly. Shout out to the Berries, though. They did the best they can and raised two. Me and my brother. They raised two kids that are really trying to do some great in this world. So,
you certainly are. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so anybody can find me on LinkedIn personally. So if you go to Dr. Jennifer Berry, you can find me online there on LinkedIn and reach out, do a private chat. I'm happy to talk to people, DM me. But if you want to find more about my company, which I really hope that people do, go to www.smartlablearning.com. So smartlablearning.com. There's lots of free resources there. There's ways that you can contact us. And if you're a company that's like, hey, I want to be a part of this movement. I want to do something local. I want to do something national. I want to invest money from our company's foundation into inspiring STEM identity in students across the nation or in my local community. Please, 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 there's forms on our website that you can fill out, and we'll get in touch with you and figure out how to broker a relationship between you and a school district, broker a relationship between you and a foundation at a local school so that you can demand that your money gets smart labs into schools. So we're happy to do that and happy to have you guys join us in this movement.
Amazing. That's smartlablearning.com. Definitely check that out. And I tell you what, I think next time I go to Old Navy, I'm going to be thinking about my STEM identity. It's Pavlovian at this point.
I love it. Shout out to Old Navy. Come to me. We could do a commercial together about STEM identity. Yeah. Maybe have Cat's Eye do a dance to it or something. That'd be great.
Jennifer, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thanks to you and thanks to all your listeners. Talk to you soon.
Hey, founders, let me ask you this. Are you building with AI or getting left behind by it? If you're serious about scaling smarter, faster, and bolder, you need to check out aiforfounders.co. It's your go-to resource for cutting through the noise and actually using AI to grow your startup. Each week, AI for Founders drops a sharp, no-fluff newsletter, dives deep with expert guests on the podcast, and hosts monthly workshops where you can get your hands dirty with the real tools and strategies. Whether you're pre-seed or Series B and beyond, launching something new, or just staying sharp, AI for Founders gives you the edge you need to win in 2025 and beyond. Hit aiforfounders.co to subscribe to the newsletter, tune into the podcast, and grab your spot in the next workshop. And it's all free. Build smarter, move faster, think bolder with AI for Founders. Now back to the show.